All right, here's where we're going to start the show. A woman is going viral on Twitter for sharing how she reapplied to her own job after she saw it posted for $30,000 to $90,000 more than she is currently making in her job. So how would you respond? This has blown up on her Twitter feed.
Oh my gosh, don't you feel like nowadays you either have to have like 1 foot outside of the door or actually have another job offer before there's any talk of a raise? Like you have to sort of push to that area. I can't believe this woman. Well, I can believe she took to Twitter. It's something impulsive that I would want to do too. And apparently she had talked with her employers on multiple occasions about getting a raise, how she was underpaid for what she was doing with no response. They, oh, we don't have the money. And then she sees this listing. You would kind of feel like, well, then I'm going to go onto Twitter. My only fear for her, though, is that potential recruiters will see this massive Twitter chain with everyone. It's gotten so much attention. We're talking about it. And they'll think, oh, this one's trouble. This one's talking about equal pay. Like, oh, she's stirring the pot.
Yeah, I like you. There's some discomfort there in talking about money. Not because I don't like it. I like it, but I think it goes back to like a deep-rooted sort of how we were raised to sort of not talk about your money, not ask people about their money. It's a little bit hush-hush.
Is there gender in there at all?
Probably. I mean, yes. Let's just say yes to that. But so if you have any discomfort with it, sort of like I do, I have a bit of a hack that's worked for me over the years. Because, you get asked to do things in your life that maybe you want to do, maybe you don't want to do. But in the ask, there's no direct discussion of payment or compensation. And so what I do is I say, oh, this sounds very interesting. Thank you for thinking of me. Where do I send my invoice? And so it puts it onto them. You know what I mean? It makes it their problem. It assumes, of course, you know my value. Of course, you're not asking me to do this for nothing. And it lets them have to respond. So it sort of puts them on the offensive as opposed to you. And I've found that that's a good hack to do what you do, but get paid for it as well,
Yes. I love that. And yet, I mean, if you're in a salaried position, it's not going to work. Right? You can't be like, you asked me to do this extra job. Can you, where do I send the invoice for that? They'd be like, whatever, here's the door. I had an experience once. I was in my 30s. It was one of my first jobs. And I'd sort of climbed up the ranks. And there was a position that became open in a senior role. And I knew about this because my boss was leaving. And also because another person who was senior in a kind of adjacent television show came over to me and he said, listen, they just offered me the job at your work in the senior position, and I didn't take it. There wasn't enough money, but they're coming for you. And I was like, oh, okay, they want me in this position? Okay, I gotta get ready. So I got myself all psyched up, and I went into this manager's, this boss's office, and she offered me nothing. She said, I'd like you to take this position to be in charge, and I'm offering you this. And I said, okay, what's the compensation? And she said, oh, there's nothing
You'd
attached
have the same
to
salary.
it. Yeah, she said, you should be grateful.
You'd be doing more.
You're so young, and you're so,
it was a guy that got offered the job
It was
first?
a guy who got the offer.
Did he tell you how much he got offered?
No, he did not.
See,
but that's a question that I should have asked, right? That's a
how
question.
Much did they ask you?
But that's like, first of all, he didn't have to tell you, so good on him.
Yes.
I wish he would have taken that extra step to tell you. But again, you're right. We all have funny feelings and taboos around money. But that's where I'm going to go with this conversation. In her Twitter thread, the only reason why this woman in the Twitter thread knew that it was 30 to 90K more than hers is that wherever she lives has a pay transparency law. They have to post the salary. And guess what? There are different variations of this in Canada, in Ontario. Are they being enacted? That's a different question. Because if she didn't know because of this law, they wouldn't have had to post it. And none of this would have ever happened. How many women are sitting in jobs right now, sitting next to a man and making far less than he is? So when I go back to men, in your case, had he actually told you the number, it would have been so empowering for you, nothing to lose for him. And I say this because...
But I wouldn't have tried to go for whatever number that was. He was senior to me. This is where it gets slippery, right? Like I wouldn't...
Yes.
Like the idea of equity, I know we should be fighting for more equity, for sure.
But equity is not equal. Those are two different words.
Right. Yes.
So you were looking for equity, you weren't looking for equal.
Yeah,
and
he might
therein
have had
lies
10
the
more
difference.
years
I think he
experience.
did, yes.
And warranted,
But to finish
more.
my thought with her, I am going to speak to men out there right now, because we just came off of International Women's Day, and people are posting, and it's like people telling you, Happy International Women's Day, thanks a lot, okay? But if you really want to be an ally, and you know that you are in a similar job, we gotta get over our stigma when it comes to talking money. If there was more transparency, because the laws aren't being enacted, and you know as a group that you're all doing similar jobs, what more or less everybody is making, imagine how you would empower the woman sitting next to you. Imagine. Now, I say that because I was in a similar position. I was offered a job, an additional job, and what I was offered, I actually was very deeply insulted. And I went back to my lawyer and I said, ask for double. And without any hesitation, I got double. Just by asking. Now, we know we don't
what I'm
negotiate
hearing
enough.
is that we need lawyers. We all need
Yes.
negotiators.
Ask for what you're worth, because I guess if you're on the employer side of things, you might be like, yeah, how about this? You know, and hope that there is a negotiation, and you might lowball it to go in. But you came back.
If they wanted you in the first place,
Yeah.
they're going to at least be willing to negotiate.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Which they did.
And I would say too, with what we were talking about with men, it's also, I think, women sharing salaries amongst ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that also is empowering. You know, being able to know, I mean, we'll go backstage. No.
Let's do it right now.
But I think that is also important. I mean, yes, it's men in the workplace, but it's also, you know, who we're working with as women. And,
It's
and kind
true.
of having
'Cause,
that collective.
Yeah, but let's be honest, we don't talk about it.
We don't. We
Let's call
we
ourselves
did.
out.
No.
We had small.
have.
Yeah, we had small
Actually, we have.
conversations.
Yes, we have.
I forgot. We have. Women talk to each other.
We do, and it's
Yeah.
been very important.
Yes.
And it's grown our friendship.
Look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us all.
Can I give a shout out? I know we have to end the segment, but I want to give a shout out. You guys all know amazing reporter Robin Doolittle from the Globe and Mail. If you guys go back and you're wondering what is the state of things in Ontario or any province or Canada, her and her colleagues did an amazing series called The Power Gap. And they only looked at the gender pay gap. And they looked at many other factors underneath that. And basically what they ended up finding was, men are still making way more money than women in almost the identical jobs across this country. And at no surprise either, the people in the highest positions making the most money, there are so few women, and the men who are there are just blowing the women's salaries out of the water. So welcome to 2023. Nothing's changed in the last 50 years. Hate to say it.
Thanks for watching. We've got lots more discussion and debates on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.